All right, welcome back to the KnivesFAST channel, guys. It is time to say hello to those guys over there, my friends Ren and Stimpy and Powdered Toast Man and Log and TV. And let's get started. Guys, I am starting here at 7:45, and at the top of the hour, we're going to have our friend Doug Ritter. Well, Doug may actually be here early, but we'll go ahead and do a few housekeeping items, and then we'll jump in and check on him. So. Guys, let's see who's in here so far. Dan Brock, hello, sir. Junior, J.R. Miz, I should say. I always do that wrong, man. Sinister's here. Mike Curtis is here. Marcos Gamma is here. Leland Phil is sneaking and watching at work, but don't tell anybody. Terry is here. Hey, Terry. Hey, David Iverson, listening while driving home. Let's see. I thought I saw Andrew Hobbert. I did. Andrew Mike Jernak. Hello. Well, anyway, hello, guys. Good to see you. Let's get a couple. Oh, good. JR Miz. Awesome. That is awesome. Glad you got those stickers. Thanks, man, for being such a good dude and sending some knives along for me to check out. I totally can't do this without you guys. Knives are what make this channel go. You guys notice I'm pretty much doing a review every day now. And if I didn't have guys like you sending Andrew Hobbert's another one, if I didn't have Bang Bang, hello, if I didn't have folks like you sending knives in for me to check out, this would be really hard to do. So I really appreciate it very, very much. Hey, Doug, would you can give me a thumbs up or thumbs down? Would you like to start a little bit early or wait till 8 o'clock? Start early? Okay. All right. Guys, we're going to go ahead and bring Doug in a little bit early here. And then I will, at the end, closer to 9 o'clock, we'll do things like pocket checks. I actually have, let's just give you a sneak peek for those of you that are here early. I actually have a knife that just got unboxed. Look at that. Here, we'll just, whoa. Sorry, that happened in my ear. Hey, Keith the Knife Freak, look at you, man. Look at that, everybody. Keith just became a member of the KF Pit Crew. Keith, you get a Dalika salute. Keith is the founder of the Dalika Club, and there he goes. So this, for those of you that are here early, is the Finch Roadrunner. Check that thing out. So we'll talk more about that later on, and we're going to bring Doug in now so he can join us. Hey, sir.
Hello.
Glad to have you join us. We have people pouring in. It usually takes a few minutes, and we get a full house in here. My moderator's here now, so we're good to go. So really good. Todd Carr, welcome. Marcos Gamma, welcome. Just try to make sure. Grumpy Grunt, hello, monkeys and Doug. That's Doug. He didn't call you a monkey. That is good.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I've been called worse.
So it's funny that with you coming on, we have something that looks very much like a stiletto here as my unboxing knife today. Scary stiletto. Now, this one is just a flipper. This is the Finch Roadrunner, a brand new design by Finch Knives. And it really cool one just came in from them. I thought that was really super cool. So, Doug, I was reading, we'll just jump right into this. And by the way, just really grateful for you and the way you have made yourself available to the community. It's, somebody like you in a position like yours, I'm sure you are very, very busy.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
But, it's important to get out there and talk to folks about what we do. One of the most difficult things we deal with is the fact that there's still an enormous amount of people who don't even know knife rights exist, or that there are bad knife laws in this country.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm happy to come on.
I think that's great, and we're going to talk a little bit about. Whoops, sorry about the music there. Jason Brown, thank you, my friend. He's watching from the shower. No, I'm not going to be peeking, Jason. So there's your Dalika salute. Everybody, give Jason some love in the chat. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that very, very much. Always try to honor people that donate to the channel, Doug. So if you see me stop and throw a Dalika up, that's why. So if you don't know the little joke behind these, it's there's a guy named Keith. He's in the chat. He started sending these out with it. There's a matter of fact, it's over on the wall over here. There's a certificate of membership to the Dalika Club, and it's the dollar knife that you can get at the dollar store, basically. And so he sends these out to reviewers and different stuff. So if you see me showing that, that's what that is. So everybody's saying hello to Doug. Very cool. All right. So yeah, knife rights. Let's start there. I always make the assumption that I shouldn't make, that everybody knows what that is. And I'm going to show, Keith's going to put some links up here in a minute. And I'm going to kind of show your website here in just a moment. But just layman's point of view, what does knife rights do?
So the easiest way for most people to understand what knife rights is about is that we are essentially, if you want, the NRA for knife owners. We're proactive at repealing bad knife laws, at keeping bad laws from being passed, and defending people in court when that's necessary, when there's a constitutional question. That's what we do. 34 bills passed, repealing knife bans in 23 states and over 150 cities and towns since 2010. Not bad.
Very. Yeah, no, that's really good. And I know I saw Andrew Hobbart's name come by. He's one of our Ohio people. So I know he's mentioned multiple times that they're very happy to have knife rights for sure. So
yeah, as a matter of fact, my lobbyist, Todd Ratner, is arriving in Ohio in about an hour for a hearing on our bill tomorrow. One of three or four. So we're making progress.
Yeah, I know there's one going on in Washington. Slow. Yeah, got it. I know there's one going on in Washington State. And of course, there's
the Washington State bill died.
Unfortunately,
timed out. Washington's really difficult. And we have bills. The Virginia bill passed the Senate. It's had its hearing in the House, which it passed 21-1.
That's awesome.
And so we're hoping to get that done this year. That would be a huge win.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And I have Protec SBR or Rockwall on my not Rock. What's it called? Rock. Anyway, I got Protex on my list. So if they become legal in Virginia, I will be buying some automatic knives.
We're hoping come July 1st you can legally own and carry any automatic.
That would be really nice. So I've always wanted. I like the out the side stuff. I'm not big on OTFs, but I think the out the side stuff's pretty cool. So I would like to definitely get some of those at some point. Okay, Andrew asked, what is the new bill for Ohio tomorrow?
So in Ohio, if you recall, last year in Ohio, we finished getting rid of the vagueness in Ohio knife law that allowed almost any knife carried concealed to be declared illegal. So now, if you carry a knife concealed in Ohio, it's only illegal if you actually use it to commit a crime. And then we also made it legal for manufacturers such as Rick Hinder to manufacture automatic knives in Ohio, and to also for retailers to sell them. The possession and open carry of automatic knives in Ohio has been legal for years. It's just been this little weird thing. So now we're coming back to pass knife law preemption. So knife law preemption means that it gets rid of all the local laws that are more restrictive than state law, because it says that essentially you can't have local laws that are more restrictive than state law. So that means once you know the knife laws in Ohio, which now are pretty much carry whatever you want, then you know the laws all over the country. All over the state, you don't cross the city line and discover that your knife that was legal on one side is now illegal on the other.
Gotcha.
So it's important to tie all that up.
Right. Understood. And we've gone through all, like you compared it to NRA. For those of us that carry, we've thought about these different things a million times, and reciprocity and all those different things. But I like the preemption laws. To me, that when you explain that on another live and just now, makes a lot of sense to me why that would be so important. So I
Yes,
like that very,
we
very
don't have
much.
the resources to go to every little community or big town or city and get their laws changed. So if we get preemption passed at the state level, that gets rid of all those restrictions throughout the state. It's really the only practical way to accomplish that.
Gotcha. So Troy Hartman says, as an Ohio resident, I'm very grateful the laws are no longer so ambiguous. Even cops and courts didn't know what was what. And I think, Doug, we talk about this all the time. And I heard you on, I think it was Blade Talk with Scab and Joe, talking about localities where the police don't really know because the law is ambiguous.
It's bad enough when you have a restriction, but when you have a vague or ambiguous restriction, which is the case in most places, that makes it even worse, because then it's open to interpretation by the law enforcement officer, by the prosecutor, by the judge. And the simple solution to that problem is just get rid of the bad laws and get rid of the restrictions, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Right. Understood. And Andrew's basically confirming what you said earlier, which is I live in a good area for knife laws, but I know Cleveland and Columbus have some terrible local laws. So
and if we get preemption done, then those laws go away.
Yep. Yeah. And he says exactly that, especially with automatic knives. Thank you for doing everything you've done. So that's cool. Yeah. The thing that you'll notice, Doug, and what I think is so great about, I was honored to be a part of Knives Live and will be again. I can't wait.
That was incredible. What
yeah,
you did. It really was.
Well, the fact that it was pulled off so quickly, and the guys that really ran it, Shane Gables and John Evans, I was so thankful. And Kevin Lefty EDC with his help with the giveaways and it was just incredible what was done. And again, like you said, I mean, for such a quick thing, it was a pretty big result for you guys. But I think not just what I was getting to is not just for the money raising thing, but the awareness. Just in chats almost every week, someone brings up something related to knife laws, and that was never happening before. So
that's great. That's wonderful.
I think that's a big part. And when you see people, they're actually going in their state and looking at Legal Blade and looking at the knife rights and their knife laws in their state and what they can and can't do, and kind of shaking their head, because I think before a lot of people just didn't pay attention to it.
Well, and that's part of the problem is,
right.
A lot of people don't even know what the law is until they discover the bad way. You know, a traffic stop, and suddenly the knife you're carrying is illegal, and the next thing you know, your traffic stop has turned into a serious misdemeanor, or, you know, in New Jersey, a felony.
Yeah.
So these are serious things that a lot of people don't give a lot of thought to, because it generally doesn't impact them.
That's exactly right.
Until it does.
Until it does. Yeah, we've talked about this in Virginia, and I got to tell you, just in my state, I have arguments with people all the time. I get it from both sides. I have people telling me when we talk about this, they'll say, "Oh, I don't even think assisted knives are legal in Virginia." I know they are. And then, you know, I go to other people and they're like, "Well, I didn't know automatics weren't legal in Virginia. I have like 10 and I carry them all the time." And I'm like, "Well, you probably shouldn't say that out loud." But you know,
it's an interesting phenomenon.
Yeah.
In some states, when we get rid of a switchblade ban, the retailers around the country run out of switchblade knives. I mean, it's just because everyone follows the law. And Illinois, a perfect example of that. I mean, when we got switchblades legal in Illinois with a simple FOID card, they just started buying up switchblades like there was no tomorrow.
Right.
In Texas, on the other hand, they saw a nice bump in sales, but so many people in Texas just didn't give a hoot what the law was, or didn't know, and nobody cared until they had to. So it's sort of interesting, and you never quite know what's going to happen when that switch gets turned. and it's sort of interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think that's that. And I, I can't tell you. Like I said, unfortunately, it's funny. All of my knife friends are in other states. I think I have one or two people I know in Virginia that are big into knives. And, it was funny. We were talking about it. I have a friend, and again, I'm not even going to tell you where in Virginia or what his name is, but he's big into the old stilettos. And he has like, the style you would have seen in West Side Story. He's got a bunch of really like mother of pearl ones, and beautiful, beautiful ones hidden away in his basement. He keeps them locked up in his gun safe, and there's thank you very much for putting that link up there, Keith. Guys, that is the link to the news story on Doug's website, kniferights.org. About Virginia and the latest thing, which is that the House committee has passed the ban repeal, and now we're just waiting on the House. Now, you had told me, I'm going all over the place here, but you told me that they go under adjournment when in Virginia?
So this will all be done basically by the end of next week. I think the 12th is the last day that they can vote on the bill. And then assuming we get it done, assuming that the governor signs it, which there's no indication he wouldn't, July 1st is the big day for Virginia.
That'd be very cool.
But
so
look, I've been that close and had things go sideways, so I don't like to make predictions.
I understand. But we have, in fairness, it's passed before and gotten vetoed by the governor, correct?
Twice. Different governors.
Yeah, two different governors. So I have a feeling
this governor will be better.
I do have a feeling, but we'll see.
And the other thing is, we're different from most of the Second Amendment organizations, and we are a Second Amendment organization. It's that we get support from both sides of the aisle. And Virginia is a perfect example of that. In the Senate, it passed out of committee unanimously. It passed the Senate unanimously on the consent calendar. Okay, that doesn't happen with the traditional Second Amendment bill dealing with firearms. We are very lucky that for different reasons, both the left and the right generally support our bills. The vast majority of our bills have passed with bipartisan support.
And that's awesome.
I'm pretty proud of that. And
I think you should be.
Otherwise.
Yeah, and the thing is, most of this is common sense. I mean, we like to say it here on the channel all the time. We say it on the channel a lot, that knives are tools. Now, you and I both know that there's a lot of people that just collect knives. There's a lot of people that use them as tools. There's a lot of people that use them as pocket jewelry, whatever it is. I think that's fine. But I know that in my daily routine, I use a knife at least several times a day, 3-4 times a day, to do something. I got home earlier. My wife had me opening boxes and packages and all kinds of stuff. So it's a practical thing for me. Now, could we sit here and say, is an automatic practical? No, but it's definitely to me just another tool. So
one of the questions we often get asked by legislatures,
right,
is, why does anyone need an automatic knife? And the response is pretty straightforward. Nobody needs an automatic knife, but we live in America. And in America, you don't have to need something in order to get it. In America, we're allowed to want things. And if no harm comes to anyone else from your desiring some particular knife, and no harm comes to anyone else from you carrying any particular knife, why shouldn't you be allowed to? And that argument, once it's explained to legislators, makes sense to a lot of them. We demonstrate when we go before legislators, my lobbyists, myself, we have trainers, one-hand openers, assisted openers, autos, and of course a fixed blade. And once you demonstrate to them that the auto is not as quick to put into your hand as even a fixed blade, let alone a one-hand opener. The light goes on and they're like, yeah, this sounds stupid, isn't it?
Right.
And
It's not
the fact
not
is there's no common sense in the law.
right.
Very little common sense in the law. And all of these restrictions on knives are basically irrational.
Right.
They're not based on anything that makes any sense.
Well, everybody pretend you don't see what I'm about to show, but so let's just say this guy, okay? This is you I think we've talked about this before. So this knife right here is an 8-inch knife. This is obviously about a 4-inch knife. You know, it all has always seemed silly to me that, you know, this little thing right here, you know, in my state can't really be carrying this around or whatever. And so yeah, you're right. There's something really strange about that. And again, you know, you've said before, it all goes back to that West Side Story, that vibe of scary, you know.
Scary, you know, those sorts of movies, West Side Story and the others, basically demonized automatic knives. And
right.
And we run into people who are convinced that the only person who would carry an automatic knife is a gang member or something like that. They don't understand that there are hundreds of thousands of people in the United States who carry an automatic knife every day
on a daily basis. Yep.
Because they want to.
As a matter of fact, let's just do that real quick. If you guys regularly carry an automatic, and again, don't tell me what state you're in, but if you regularly carry an automatic, let's see a hand. Just tell me, because I'm curious, how many people is that part of your EDC on a regular basis? You know, it's just it's one of those things that just, you know, seems kind of goofy to me, but it is what it is. So to all of you that have come in, and we've had an influx of people coming in, this is Doug Ritter from Knife Rights. I know we're at the top of the hour, so let's just take a break here. Knife Rights, for those of you that are just coming in, is like the NRA for, but I want to make one important point after I say that. Like the NRA for firearms, they're for knives, going out lobbying in the places where knife laws need some tweaking, need some help, you know, and that kind of thing. So, and obviously what we're trying to do is raise awareness for a couple things. In a moment, we're going to show Doug's website here, because I want you guys, if you are not a member or if you haven't donated to Knife Rights, tonight is your night to consider doing so. Okay, guys, this is a worthy organization. They're fighting for your rights. Let's see. My wife carries those punks in Happy Days. It's all Fonzie's fault. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a few people in here saying don't own an automatic, but I can legally thanks to Knife Rights. So, you know, again, he has the right to do so, whether he one way or the other. Lots of love and respect, Doug. We just got so. You know, guys, Knife Rights is exactly. Now, I want to make something really key here about Knife Rights. It's Doug, it's his lobbyist, and it's his wife. Am I right, Doug?
That's it.
So if you guys have heard of the NRA, if you drive up north of me here, there's the NRA building. That building is enormous. Okay, it's like
we don't have a building.
Right. Doug's working out of his house, and wherever he happens to be, because Doug travels all the time. And you know, it's 3 people, guys. So they need your support. I'm not going to say more than other organizations, because that's not true. It's whatever you choose. But I'm going to tell you that Doug will put your money to work. We saw that with the Knives Live that we did, the 24-hour deal. A lot of you stepped up to the plate. So I'm sure there's a lot of people in the chat that are already members. But let's make it even more of you, is what I'm trying to say.
We sincerely appreciate it. You
know,
it's frustrating at times, the fact that you have to spend the kind of money that we spend in order to get things done. A state like Ohio, for example, where we have to go back for hearing after hearing after hearing after hearing, because that's the way things get done in Ohio.
Right.
But if you're going to get things done, you have to show up. We learned early on that showing up makes all the difference in the world. And that costs.
I believe that.
Our biggest expense is travel expenses. It's just huge.
I bet.
Typically, we don't get to buy a ticket ahead of time. We find out like 3, 4, 5 days if we're lucky. Oftentimes we have 24 hours to show up. There are no cheap tickets when that
no happens. That's a good point. That's one I wouldn't even thought of if you're buying them at the last moment like that.
Yeah, I would say probably 85 or 90% of our travel outside of going to shows and things like that is last minute. You know, I'm leaving for Ohio on Wednesday to be at the show in Troy. That I can plan ahead for. But Todd, knowing that he has to show up at a hearing on Tuesday, that was found out Friday. So, and that's traditionally how things happen in Ohio. So, yeah, they're no inexpensive tickets there.
Yeah, I can understand. Guys, check out Keith put in the chat the link to kniferights.org. Please go check it out. And, you know, if, like I said, at least consider becoming a member, you know, or, you know, if you can only give $10, $5, whatever, they'll take that too.
If you're not in a position to donate today, sign up for our free newsletter.
Okay.
That way, you know what's going on. And when we have our big annual fundraiser, which is coming up, probably launch in late April, the Ultimate Steel, you'll know about that.
Yep.
It's really the best way to get the information about what we're doing and where we're doing it.
Cool. So guys, here's their website right here. This is what you'll see when you go there. Right up here at the top, you'll see join, renew, newsletter. So again, Doug's telling you can go right there, sign up for the newsletter. You can join, you can renew, whatever it is you need to do. And then as you go down the page, there's all the other information as well. So there's plenty of information. Doug, do me a favor real quick while I'm on here. I'm gonna is it on here? Legal Blade. Is it?
Yeah, you can scroll down to the bottom if you want.
Okay, down to the bottom of this page. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I want Doug to talk here. Let me close this menu so I can see what I'm doing. Sorry, it's hard to navigate this. Not your website, my
there you go.
Sharing here. It's sometimes okay, read more. So guys, if you go here, and Doug can tell you a little more about this, but they have an app here called Legal Blade 2.0. And Doug, why don't you go ahead and jump in and tell everybody what this is for?
So one of the problems with knife laws is where we haven't gotten rid of them, they can be very confusing. And even if you read the law, sometimes how the law is enforced is different from how the law reads. And that's a real problem because someone reads the law, thinks they're legal, and doesn't know that there's been a court ruling that their knife is indeed illegal. Whether it makes sense or not is beside the point. So we developed Legal Blade about 6-7 years ago. Has all the knife laws of the 50 states and about 50 major cities, and links to so that you can find the knife law in your particular community if there's a restriction. We updated it a couple of years ago with support from Blade HQ so that it is current. You will always have the most current information, very simply because we're the ones changing the law. So we sort of know when the laws change.
Very cool.
But it's great.
So guys,
it's free. So
yeah, that's great. And it's available in your app store if you have an Android or if you have a
iPhone, either way.
iPhone, it's available in there. So check it out, guys. I think this will save some of you some heartache if you don't know the laws in your state.
Or when you're traveling, which is
right. Or when you're traveling. Right. So I just have this rule, Doug, and this is a joke. Don't offend. I'm not going to offend anyone. This is a joke. I just don't go north. Sorry, but yeah, no.
After spending 9.5 years in federal court with New York City, I get it. And then there's New Jersey, which is the only state in the nation where violating their knife laws is a felony.
A felony. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys are in New Jersey, just don't do anything against the knife law or against any law for that matter. So, but yeah. So it's funny, Doug. I'm sitting here, and what's I want you to talk about something else because I was thinking about this. Man, for some reason my my chat does not want to move. I'm gonna close this and reopen it real quick. Trying to read people's comments, and my computer has decided it doesn't want me to. It still doesn't, but okay, I'll read them as they come in. But a lot of people have been talking about, I got this knife today, I got that knife today. I saw a guy up the chart saying that he got it was a Microtech something or other today. I don't remember what it was. And, all kinds of folks, saying what they got. So here's my question for you. How much support do you get from knife companies, from retail dealers, those kinds of things? Because I'm sure this is very important to them too. They don't want to have a bunch of states they can't ship certain knives to, they can't sell to. So do you get that kind of backing?
We get about 50% of our annual support from what you might call the industry, whether that's manufacturers or retailers or distributors. Not all of them support us. Being principled occasionally pisses people off, but we do get. We couldn't do this without that kind of support. The other 50% comes from folks like you who become members, who donated in the Ultimate Steel, who want to see us succeed as part of giving back to the community.
Gotcha. Tell us more. You just said it. Tell us more. By the way, Tom says another great reason to get out of New Jersey. So I think that's pretty funny, but there's others apparently. But
no comment.
No comment. Exactly. I'm with you. Okay. So before I move on to my next question, Sinister says, fantastic. Is it mostly U.S. companies that support? You don't really get.
We don't get financial support from any foreign companies. There are some foreign companies who donate knives for the Ultimate Steel and stuff like that. Okay,
so that was my next question. For those that don't know, tell us what about the Ultimate Steel. I know it's your biggest fundraiser, correct?
It is. It is really our only fundraiser.
Internal fundraiser. Okay,
so it's sort of like a raffle. It's a drawing. Okay. You donate a certain amount, you get a certain amount of chances to win a prize. We typically have 3 prize pools: the early bird, the full Ultimate Steel, and then the tail end. We have production knives and firearms in the early bird, custom knives and higher end firearms, and an African safari and things like that in the main drawing. And then typically the tail end is what comes in at and after Blade Show, which is usually a mixture of production knives, limited edition, and custom knives that get dropped off at our booth at Blade Show.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you donate, you get these chances to win at certain levels, like the $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $1,000 level. You get in a really, really nice knife with an MSRP that's usually about somewhere around 50% of what you're paying. So, for example, at $100, I think you get 9 chances to win in the drawing. You get a knife that's valued somewhere around $50 MSRP that's engraved, and you get a chance to win knives that are valued up to, I think the most expensive knife we've had is $10,000. Firearm prizes worth $4,000 or $5,000.
Very nice.
So it's really quite a we have typically averaged about $200,000 worth of prizes.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Jay Friedman says, did he just say an African safari? I believe I heard him say that. Yes.
Yes. Tolly's, who's a really great guy in South Africa, has donated a safari every year that we have done this. And we've had people who go over there and just have a grand time.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Jay Friedman, I think I hear you, man. That's quite a prize. So be looking out for that. And it starts when again, Doug?
It'll probably launch late April, early May this year.
Yeah, well, that's really good. And you mentioned Blade Show. I'm sure that's a lot of what you do is go around and talk to knife companies and ask for donations for those kinds of things.
People ask me what I do for knife rights. I tell them I'm the beggar in chief. If we're going to have a really good fundraiser, we got to have a really good prize.
I agree. I will. I bought my tickets today, so I'll be there with bells on to see you. Hopefully with for those that have been asking me, hopefully with a second set of prototypes. I just did, Doug. This is not a shameless plug. I'm just showing. I just did
plugs are allowed.
Yeah, I did this is my
Kickstarter.
Yeah, I did a Kickstarter for this knife. It failed. It didn't go through, which is a bummer because to me, this is a phenomenal tool, and I'm glad to have one in my collection, and I will be using it a lot. But my plan is I'm already moving forward with a totally different design and working on having prototypes hopefully by Blade Show so that I can probably just join in with a buddy's booth, since it's probably just going to be me and two prototypes sitting there. So I'll probably just jump in with another friend's booth that has already told me I can jump in with his booth. So I'll do that. And but I also, since I run a channel, I'll be walking around interviewing people. So I got to try to find you. And
we're pretty easy to find.
There you go. I saw you last year, but here's the thing. Last year, I only did one day. That was a mistake. That was my first time. Yeah, I did one day. I actually, and what's funny is I ended up with one video, and still to this point, I think I was the only one really going around interviewing people last year for some reason. The only YouTuber. Again, there was all the Blade HQ, Knife Center, all them were out there doing it, but I seem to be one of the only YouTubers out there doing a video last year, and my video kind of went crazy, and I was kicking myself for not staying another day so that I could do more. You know what I'm saying?
The Blade Show last 3 days, and
yeah, I bought the 3-day
social hour.
Okay.
First day is crazy. Second day is
better, a little calmer.
Third day, you get a chance to get out of the booth and wander around and talk.
Gotcha. So I bought the early bird this time too, so that gives me 2 more hours on that first day, so that's good. Yeah, that's funny, Matthew. The Mach 51 on episode 51. This is our 51st episode of this Monday night extravaganza. So
wow,
lots of fun. So
that's like a whole year of Mondays.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This lady, Christine over at Women Carry Knives, says hello, Doug and KC. What's funny is every time I read that, my brother's name is Doug. So I read KC and Doug, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But no, different Doug this time. So, it's I loved what I saw of Blade Show last year, but I'm excited to actually know what I'm doing this time around and be able to spend a little more time really understanding and talking deeper with some people. And yeah, I think last year I spent probably 70% of my time in interviewing people, and the rest kind of snagging a knife over here, looking at that one, buying that one, going back over here, talking to some people. And my hope is spend more time talking to the viewers that come and all that stuff. So that we'll see how that works out. You never know how it's going to go.
Best laid plans and all.
Yes, sir. So we'll see if that second prototype actually gets done in time. It's I don't know, you're probably way more familiar with this kind of thing than I am, but well, of course you deal with an American maker, but this was made by QSP, and dealing with trying to get materials right now and everything is a little on the crazy side. So Hopefully that
that's
was
true whether the knife is made over here or
yeah.
overseas. You know, my Mark V, my little Altoids tin knife is made over in
Yes.
China. So yeah, I understand how this works.
Yeah, no, I believe you do. If anybody does, it would be you way over me. But no, they were telling me if this had funded, that it was going to be probably 90 days till we had the steel to start building the knives. And so that made me a little bit nervous for that, but now I really don't have to worry about that. So,
Well,
but like I've
I
told
think you'd
everybody,
rather have worried about it.
I would have. I like I told everybody, this knife will come back up at some point down the road. If I get some successful ones, it'll come out probably a little bit different materials, that kind of thing, make a few tweaks to it, and it'll come back out at some point down the road, because I just think it's too good of a design to just shove off to the side. Duke, the answer is there are 3 total prototypes. Only one is here right now. 2 of them are on the way back to me. Probably we'll get the other 2 sometime this week. So then, yes, there will be 3. One of them goes to my friend who helped support buying the prototypes. And the other one, I don't know about yet, but the third one is staying here with me. So, but there's your answer. Yeah, maybe both of those will stay with me. I don't know yet. So we'll see. So, yeah, the second mission, it was Doug. That was kind of, that was my biggest learning experience. Is it's so hard to know when I'm sitting here in this chair and talking to, right now, 61 people. You get some really good reactions from something like this. What I found out was some people didn't like the aesthetic of it or whatever. So I think that's interesting.
Welcome to the knife business.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm sure you've gone through, knives that you thought were going to be, bam. And then, you don't sell as many as you thought. And you're like, oh my goodness. So for those that don't know, Doug is a knife designer, and Doug has some phenomenal knives out there. And you guys have hopefully seen my, my Hogue. Okay, Doug, make sure I get the name right. RSK. Yeah. The mini and the regular size. For me, I'm all about the big one. I don't mind smaller knives, but I definitely like bigger knives, for sure. Oh, Doug, you'll appreciate this. Yeah, there you go. Which one's that? That's the mini?
That's mini.
Yeah, it's not that mini. It's really not. It's
9.5 inches.
Yeah, that's a good size knife. It really is. But the big one just filled my big old hands a little bit better. But yeah, if you want to see a big knife, Doug, I just got this in from Jake Hoback. That is a 10-inch knife, 4 3/8 inch blade. Yeah, so that's a big knife. So all right, so does you guys in the comments, if you have questions for Doug, either about his knives, and by the way, Doug, I've heard you say the sales of your knife are also a big part of you being able to do what you do. Can you explain that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So neither I or my wife take any money out of knife rights. So the only way I can afford to spend 95% of my time working on knife rights is of the income that we get from the knives. So if I didn't have those knives, if they weren't as successful as they have been, if I didn't have this great partnership with KnifeWorks to sell the knives, I couldn't do knife rights. So when you buy a Doug Ritter knife, you're supporting my efforts, because I can't do this without that income.
Now tell me about your fixed blade that's based on that design. Do you have one of those laying around by any chance? Of course you do.
That one?
I need to get my hands on one of those. That is a beautiful, beautiful knife. Is that what is the handle material on that one?
So it's G10, and the steel material is S45 VN.
That's a beautiful design. I love a drop point all day long.
And then we have the little baby.
Okay, so that's the okay, cool. Yeah. Very, very cool. I have seen that one around. That is very, very nice. So Rusty says I'll be getting the fixed blade soon. I saw a bunch of people saying, guys, for some reason I cannot scroll back up the chat tonight. It will not let me. It's like stuck. So if I miss your comment, I can't really go back up and read it. So I'm sorry. Although I can on my phone over here. So, but I saw several people saying they love their RSK MK1 G2.
I appreciate it.
Rusty Knife Lover says he's got both of them. As a matter of fact, that's where I got to see them. Was Rusty sent them to me?
And just while I have the audience,
Yeah, please.
The MK is short for Mark, so it's RSK.
Mark. Okay.
Mark.
Got it. Okay, so
if you're an old military guy or British car guy, it makes sense. But
yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, very, very cool. I did not stab my keyboard with that knife, Grumpy. I drop knives on my keyboard all the time, so it's a running joke. Any chance of the full-size RSKM Mark I getting either red or blue Damascus scales, says Andrew.
So as a matter of policy, we don't comment on future products, but yeah, there's a chance.
There you go.
We have plans, and I think people will be excited about them when they come to fruition. But
very cool.
As you discovered, everything takes longer than you want it to. And these days, it takes even longer.
I can imagine. I can imagine. And Z-Man, I think we have bad news for you. I was talking to Doug about Washington State earlier.
Sorry, guys, it timed out.
Yeah, the bill timed out
again.
Didn't get traction, but he'll try again. Yeah. All right, I saw another question and now I missed it. Hey, the one that fits in the Altoid 10 Mark V and the bigger one, the Mark III G2. Okay, he has. Okay. So he's just telling me. We already knew that, but that's very cool. Yeah, I dig the small one. That's really, really cool. There's, I'm an equal opportunity knife guy. I've got all kinds of sizes of knives. It's just if I have to pick a knife as a primary on a given day, it's going to be the larger one. That's just me. But I'll always have a smaller one. Yeah, I'll always have a smaller one with me as well. Yeah, everybody's saying hi to you, Doug. There's a lot of people jumping in. So, hey there, guys. Mike K. Yeah. Doug, if you need a break or anything, just let me know. And I can, trust me, I can chat and you can come back. Just let me know. But guys, any other questions for Doug, just let me know. So what others, now I think you said once before, you can't really comment on this either, but are there other states? How about, let me ask it this way. Are there other states that might be on your agenda going forward as well?
Always.
Okay.
There's no shortage of states to do
what need help.
There's I'm not going to run out of work anytime soon.
Okay.
There are states that are harder to get things done in, like Washington, or really hard to get things done in, like California. But we'll get there eventually. The more we get done in other states, the easier, relatively speaking, it is to get things done in the difficult states, because they become even more of an outlier than they already are. Who sells Doug's knives? All but the Mark V, the little one, are only available at knifeworks.com. The Mark V is available at pretty much any good knife retailer.
Yep. And of course, Doug, and guys, if you don't know, those are made by Hogue. I thought it was awesome. I don't even know if you saw this, but when I did my my hour on Knife Rights, I reached out to, I've met the folks at Hogue. We've had a lot of great conversations. They had just sent me a Deca Gen 2, and I just said, any chance I can get something to give away on my hour? And they sent me another Deca Gen 2 to give away. So Hogue is just working great. There you go.
They have been such a pleasure to work with. They turn out such an incredibly high quality product. I can't say enough about how great it's been to work with Jim and everyone else at Hogue.
Very, very, yeah. They just seem like real stand-up people. They really do. And as a matter of fact, I was just looking in our giveaway pack tonight. There's a Hogue sticker sitting right there on top. So there you go. They send me stickers. They've sent me knives to give away. They sent me trays. They're really cool. So, all right, a couple questions coming in. Is there any truth about what I've heard about it being illegal to cross state lines with a switchblade? If so, have you thought about trying to do anything on the federal level with switchblades? And again, Freak Show, I don't think we know what state you're talking about, but Doug, let's see where you can go from there.
It's not illegal for you as a possessor of an automatic knife to cross from a state where it's legal into another state where it's legal. The federal switchblade law deals with the basically the sale of knives across state lines. And in fact, we have had a bill in Congress for 6 years, that would repeal the Federal Switchblade Act. Just need to get the right Congress and that sort of thing. But yeah, I've given it some thought. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Let's see. And you may or may not be able to answer this. K Mason asks, I can't put your comment up, man, because it already scrolled off the screen. Anything down the pipeline for Colorado? I know you've done a lot here already, but and he says thank you. So anything there?
You know, as he understands, we got their switchblade ban repealed.
Yep.
We still need to do preemption in the state, and hopefully one of these days we'll find the right vehicle to accomplish that. It's on the list. It's a long list.
Right. And Jim Hauntz has been a member of Knife Rights for years. Excellent work. Good job, Jim. Thank you. Let's see. Troy, if you were trying to put a link up, it didn't come through. Keith can put it up. Keith, can you look for a link to KnifeWorks for me to Doug's Knives? If you can, just drop that in the chat, please. And then Matthew says, please, I hope we never handle knives like the UK.
Well, there are picture postcard, if you will, of how not to do things.
Right.
And I often say that one of the things that prompted me to start Knife Rights was looking at how bad things had become in England in particular and many parts of Europe. So yeah, our goal is not to end up like that.
Very, very cool. All right, too quick. And again, guys, just remember, Doug can't necessarily go really detailed about the states, but I'll ask him anyway, and then Doug can tell me, nope, can't go into that. Chaz is asking, do you know anything about the laws in New Jersey? He's actually not sure of his laws.
So we have an app for that. It's called Legal Blade.
Good plug. I like
free.
that. So yeah, you can go on there and look and see what your laws are for sure. There you go. KnifeWorks.com. Thank you, Keith, for sticking that up. And then again, Richard, I bet the answer is going to be the same. What do you think about the laws in New Mexico? I think we're
like to fix them.
Yeah, he actually says he thinks they're lenient, but
New Mexico is one of the 6 states currently that you cannot possess a automatic knife.
Okay. Yep. So that's not very lenient. I mean, but not in my book, at least. Yeah. So Chaz says he'll go get the app. So that's good. Yeah, guys, download the app. Let's see Doug's numbers go up. Everybody get that app, please. And again, if you're not supporting Knife Rights, Keith's put the link up half a dozen times. Go find it in the chat, or just go look. It's easy. KnifeRights.org, and right at the top of the page it says. Matter of fact, I do have it up, but I have the wrong page up. But anyway, KnifeRights.org, and right at the top of the page it says join. Okay, it's that simple, or donate or whatever. How do you? Okay, shoot, that question went off the screen too. I've got to fix this. Downloading the app now. Very cool. How do you decide where to spend your time and money state-wise, or you said you're doing some stuff on the federal level too. How do you prioritize where you go next?
So that's interesting. So about half our bills are bills that we start because we have either met a legislator at one of the conferences we go to where legislators who have an interest in this sort of thing go to, or somebody in a state who knows the legislator has put us together and we're able to get things going. The other half are typically bills that a legislator starts themselves because they've seen what we're doing elsewhere.
Okay.
And sometimes that's good and sometimes it's not so good, because without adult supervision, if you will, sometimes these laws that they propose are not well considered, if it's not just a straight repeal. So we often go into a state like Wisconsin's a classic example. They started out basically saying, okay, let's make it the law that if you have a concealed carry permit, you can carry an automatic knife. We're like, no, we don't go there. You don't need a permit to carry an automatic knife. And in the end, when we were done in Wisconsin, we got rid of all their knife laws, passed preemption, all in one fell swoop. So it just depends. And in terms of priorities, look, we're not, we don't have all the funds we would love to have. So we're not going to be going to a state like California where getting a law change can take millions of dollars.
Right.
Anytime soon. When California's last man standing or New York's automatic law is last man standing, those are times that we'll be able to concentrate. Meanwhile, we go where we think we have a really good chance of getting things done. And by really good chance, I want to make it clear, that doesn't mean it's going to happen today. It means that we think if we keep coming back, the situation is such that we can eventually get it passed. Ohio, for example, that took 5 years till we got to the point of passing a bill. New York was 9.5 years, passed the bill 3 times, had it vetoed twice. So we don't give up, but we try to spend, because we're limited, we try to spend the money wisely, because we don't have any choice. We want to go where we can get things accomplished. And sometimes with some states, basically you're not going to get a law passed if it hasn't aged, if you will, like a fine wine. It's got to be there for a few sessions. People get used to it. Maybe they start talking to you. You start getting hearings on the bills. It's a process, and every state is different. That's one of the challenges. The basic concepts are the same, but how you actually get a bill passed and the mechanisms and the political structures in each of the states, that's one of the challenges for us, is figuring all that out. Sometimes there are some states, I'm not going to name them, where if you don't have a local lobbyist working for you, which obviously costs you a bunch of money, you're not going to get a law passed.
Right.
Bill's just not going to get done. And those states are more difficult because we have to hire a local lobbyist. And when you already have a really good lobbyist on staff, it's annoying to basically have to pay somebody. So
Right.
But we've done that, and we will continue to do that when we see the opportunity to get things done. We look at our budget at the beginning of the year. We try to get as many bills filed as we can, because we know a lot of them are just going to not get done. And 34 bills since 2010, so it's 12 years. I think it's a pretty good average.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And looking at this map, you can definitely see all the places you guys have already been in for what you're doing, that is a very short period of time. That is, in getting, and as a matter of fact, let's take the question at the bottom down there real quick. Scott says a lot of the knife laws in Massachusetts are ancient. I don't think Massachusetts is really that much different than a lot of states. A lot of these laws have been in for long periods of time, right, Doug?
So the laws that we deal with have typically shown up in the state one of 2 times. Either shortly after the Civil War, where we got a lot of laws limiting the carry of big knives and machetes and Bowie knives and knives over 5.5 inches and that sort of stuff. And then again in the late 50s, when we got all the switchblade and gravity knife bans that came in. Those are the 2 time periods where these bad laws happen. And so we're repealing knife laws that are either 50 years old,
wow,
or 100 years old.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
just in round numbers.
Let me go back to it real quick to try to answer G-Ball. Let's see. Yellow, Doug, is knife ban repeal. So that's where there was a bill, I mean, a law on the books that was repealed in that state. So yellow means that. Andrew asked a moment ago if Ohio passes preemption, will that turn it green?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I had this up for a few minutes there, and people were looking at all their states, and then Nevada and Washington and New York have a disease. It looks like. I
are not a graphic artist. I'm
just messing with you. But no, it gets the point across. They it's complicated, is what that means.
Yeah, and that's why we have legal blade, because it is complicated.
Yeah, very much so. And sad gray states mean that as of yet, the existing knife laws are since 2010, or before that, those nothing has changed yet. And hopefully for us gray states out there,
in some of those states, it's not a bad thing. Look at Oregon. Oregon's great. Oregon, it is legal to carry to possess autos. It's legal to carry autos. You just can't carry it concealed. So that's a state where we have a big lift to get the concealed carry in. But one of these days we will. But just because it is, the colored states are states where we've
done something
active. Doesn't necessarily mean that the gray states don't have good knife laws. They could have terrible knife laws, or they could have perfectly good knife laws.
Right. So, guys, I think it's important for you to understand something. If you look at this, okay, that's 11 years. In 11 years, three people made a lot of stuff happen.
12
years. Okay. Yeah. That's right. We're in 22, KC. But the point is, Doug, what you guys have done in, like I said, the 50 to 100-year laws, what you've done in an extremely short period of time is phenomenal. And guys, just think what they can do with more funds and more help. So just keep that in mind. And I put that up there to show you. Oh, let me go back to that real quick, because I do want to go to the top of the page and just show one more time, guys, what I was talking about earlier up here. Join, renew, newsletter, sign up for the newsletter. If you can't give right now, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get, even if you can't give money, if there, is something in your state, you will be called on to contact your congressman. And Doug, explain that. Like in Virginia, when the bill comes for a vote, you guys will send out an action, and it'll just be ready, and you go in and plug your name in and hit go, right?
So because we value our members and supporters' time, we don't do a call to action unless it's necessary. For example, talking about Virginia, we have taken a very low-key approach to that, because that's sort of what is going to work in that state. There are other states where the ability to generate a few hundred emails at the right time make a huge difference and move things forward. Texas is one of those states where we have been able to generate hundreds and hundreds of emails to get bills moved. So I believe firmly in not wasting our supporters' time, so we don't send out newsletters unless we have something useful to say.
Makes sense.
You may get 3 newsletters in 1 week, and you may not get another one for a month. I mean, because we don't have anything to say. We all get inundated with emails, and so that's just the way we sort of. It's like the golden world. How would I like to be treated? Yeah.
Understood.
I don't need to hear from the same organization 3 times a week, just asking us for money.
No, I agree with you completely.
And they do that because it's successful for them, but I don't think that would be successful for us. We're different.
You're definitely a different thing compared to a lot of those kinds of organizations. I agree. Two things. Number one, John Evans in the chat. John was huge in